Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Tarot Academy. I'm Spencer, your host as always, and today I thought we would do something a little bit different than normal. So, rather than the traditional pick a card, I wanted to break down exactly what the 9 card spread means and how each position in the spread, 1 through 9, relates to its meaning in numerology and why I use this spread, as I call it, the completion spread, for so many of my readings, especially pick a card readings, as opposed to many other tarot readers who simply either use their own style of interpretation or perhaps another spread like a love spread or a money spread or a 7 card spread perhaps. Whatever they tend to do, we're going to break down why I use the 9 card spread and what exactly it means. I'll spend a minute or two breaking down each number 1 through 9 and each placement and its value, its meaning in numerology, etc. The value of the meaning of the card, so let's say I draw the King of Cups, for example, in the first position, that's not going to have any bearing. I didn't actually even need to shuffle here. Rather, I'm simply going to explain things as they come. So here is the 9 of Swords, right? This is card number 1. So 1 in numerology is leadership energy. It's also male energy, phallic energy. Obviously 1 shaped like a rod or a wand or a penis in human anatomy. That's why a sword is a male suite as well. So 1 in numerology, so leadership. So if I was to do a reading for you and I was to employ the 9 card spread, I would say, okay, this individual is likely being kept up at night, and she's being led by these nightmares or these traumas or this pressure, this burden, this stress that's keeping her from resting or living her best life, etc. That is how I would interpret the 9 of Swords being represented as the first card we draw. So the energy of the first position of 1 in numerology is leadership, and when you have an empty slot, an empty leader slot, and you insert someone like, say, Donald Trump or Barack Obama, one you might say is crazy, the other extraordinarily intelligent, depending on which side of the aisle you're on. But either way, they both occupy that leadership slot and that leadership energy. So in this case, the Nightmare card would be embodying the leadership energy, and that would likely guide my interpretation of the rest of the draw and the spread. Now, 2 in numerology. In this case, we draw the 8 of Swords. Perhaps Spirit's trying to tell us something. But regardless, 2 in numerology is female energy, and it's peaceful energy. It's also somewhat emotional. Now, 2, of course, represents female. I believe it's something to do with 2 fallopian tubes as far as biology relates. I'm not entirely certain because it's really not important. All we know is 1 leadership energy plus 2 female energy equals 3, and we'll get into 3 in a moment, but you need 1 and 2 to make 3 or a family. But anyways, 2, this is effectively the Gandhi placement, the peaceful placement. So in drawing the 8 of Swords, I would look at this and say, it appears that this person is bound by their problems, by their stresses, by their woes, and their anxieties, and they feel that there is no way out. They feel permanently trapped, and they fear they will be forever led by the first energy, that is nightmares, stress, and the detriments that come along with it. So these two happen to relate quite nicely, so it appears that the deck is cooperating with me when it comes to the explanation of my 9 card spread. Now let's move on to the 3rd placement. So remember, we have leadership, we have peace and emotion, we have masculinity, we have femininity. That is it for gender. The only two gendered numbers in numerology are 1 and 2. Men can embody female energy, no problem. Joe Biden is technically a 2 life path, though he's really a hidden 11. I'm not going to be getting into the master numbers 11, 22, and 33. That's something for advanced students and advanced readings, but that will also be left alone because I don't incorporate master numbers very much in my readings. Now, number 3, we have the 4 of Wands. So 3 in numerology often indicates an element of deception, an element of criminality, but also creativity. Oftentimes, threes are musicians, artists. They embody many separate life paths. So I would say, in the context of the Four of Wands occupying the third position, the three position, this is telling you that you should get out and do something creative, have a creative outlet to relieve the stresses built up from your everyday life. So if you have a minimum wage job you hate, or some other job, you have someone at work who is out to get you, etc., and there's nothing you can do about it, what tarot is trying to tell you is to take that terrible energy and channel it into something creative. Remember, take that physical detriment, that emotional detriment, 1 plus 2 equals 3, 3 here, and channel it into something creative, something that brings you joy, something that brings you happiness. That's what tarot is telling us here. That's what the Four of Wands is telling us you need to do. That's what the three in numerology, the third placement, is telling us to do. Normally I would talk about a free 3-card mini reading here, but I'm no longer doing those. I have, however, put special YouTube pricing on my private readings now. I understand a lot of people can't typically afford my normal rate. So what I've done is I've created a few other options for people if they are interested. Typically I'm $500 for a reading, but I didn't quite understand how hard COVID had impacted many people's finances on YouTube. So I do reserve usually about an hour a day for YouTube readings. And if you want, I have a couple different price points available now. I do apologize for misreading the economic circumstance of so many of you who wanted private readings but couldn't afford it. I have realized the error of my ways and have adjusted the pricing so there's something for everybody now, because I do this out of passion and love to help people. It's not actually about the money. I've made enough money, I don't have to work anymore. But we're going to move on now. So we have male energy, female energy, leadership, peace, and finally creative outlet here, because I'm going to assume you're not a deceptive or criminal person. Now, position 4, represented by the Seven of Wands. And again, the cards itself don't necessarily matter. This is a numerology reading in the context of a 9-card spread. So don't get hung up on any of these. I'm simply interpreting them as if I was doing a private reading for you. So 4 in numerology is the number of peace, the number of order, and when I say peace, I mean order. It's not conflicting with number 2. It's just going outside and seeing clean, safe streets, that sort of peace. So law and order, peace, structure, as in waking up at 8 o'clock every day, going to bed at 9 o'clock every day, 3 square meals a day. Think a very regimented life like the army. Most 4 life paths go on to careers in the civil service, the military, police. Sometimes they become doctors, but that's more of a 6 thing. So the 4 is, of course, the just law and order. I mean, the 4th card of the major arcana is the Emperor, and the Emperor is someone who is all about structure, power, order, etc. And that's what the people in the 4 life path, that's what the 4th card in the 9-card spread embodies. So if we were to see the 7 of Wands here in the context of the 4th placement, again, this fits perfectly with 1 and 2. You have physical trauma, emotional trauma, great stress, and that's preventing you from feeling a feeling of peace, of serenity, of calm, etc. So because of the energies of cards 1 and 2 here, it makes you feel like the whole world is out to get you. Like you're being attacked from every angle, like each one of these wands is stabbing into you and you're trying to fend them off. You're looking for that little slice of peace, order, and serenity, yet the entire world is throwing every amount of conflict possible at you. The opposite of what 4 embodies in numerology. 5. So the 9 of Wands represents 5. Now, 5 in numerology is indicative of beauty and travel. So 5 life paths are often typically very good looking, and of course they do like to travel. So you can think of the Instagram model or influencer who quote unquote is always traveling, and you know they take beautiful pictures. Whether they're nice people or not, I don't know, but typically 5 indicates beauty and travel. Now, in the context of the Nine of Wands here, this could likely indicate you're stuck, you're feeling like you're trapped in a prison, and you need to do some traveling. In this card's draw, I would say it has less to do with beauty and more to do with feeling like you're imprisoned in your current life. Remember the negative energies here, the lack of order, the need for creative outlet. This would tell me that, hey, you're in need of a vacation. You're trapped behind a prison of your own and others' designs. That's what the Nine of Wands is telling me. The Queen of Wands in the 6th position. So 6 in numerology is the number of the family. And 6s are, of course, family-oriented people. So right here, in the context of this spread, I would look at the Queen of Wands and say, there's a familial matter to be attended to here. Whether it's you should spend more time with your kids, perhaps your calling is to be a mother and to have children, or perhaps to resolve an issue with a mother-like or significant other female figure in your life. That's what I would say is the context of this. Typically, 6 life paths turn out to be doctors or those who really want to help people. A very kind and gentle soul is the 6 life path. And the Queen of Wands is, of course, a kind and benevolent woman. Though she is quite witchy, this is certainly a witch card, but this isn't Salem. I think we've matured beyond the point of all witches brewing potions for wicked deeds. But anyway, that would be the meaning of the 6. Now, let's move on to 7. So we have the 10 of Pentacles in the 7th position in numerology, or in the spread. So in numerology, 7s are loners and very intelligent. So this would mean that you could think of it like this. Mark Zuckerberg or Bill Gates, 2 of the wealthiest people in the world, both very smart, geeky, nerdy, and both were loners. Both said throughout their entire lives, they kind of felt alone. They had maybe a small group of peers, but their priority was building something, and that's what the 7 is all about. The 7 is often the university professor, the PhD student, the multiple PhD student sometimes, but it also indicates a great intelligence, just in general. So 7, drawing the 10 of Pentacles, for example, in the 7th position, I would say that there is an individual in question, or perhaps you are an extraordinarily intelligent person and would use that intelligence to leverage you into a position of wealth. This old man, he's intelligent, he's wise, and he's very rich as a result of the knowledge he possesses and the action he's taken as is influenced by that knowledge. Now, let's move on to the 8th position, the 8th card. So we draw the 4 of Cups in the 8th position. Now, 8 in numerology and 8 in the spread meaning is karma, number 1, and number 2, wealth. So let's look at 8. It doesn't matter which way an 8 is turned. It will simply always be 8. So if an 8 is upright, it's 8. If an 8 is sideways, it's infinity or karma, the loop of karma. If an 8 is upside down, it's still 8. I mean, we have to understand that. 8 is 8 no matter what. So you see, we move on and we look at 8. If I was to draw this here, I would say you're going to be quite emotional about your money. Or there's a karmic debt that has to be paid and it's coming to you. And it's likely going to hit you kind of hard. In the context of 7 being the 10 of Pentacles, I would say this likely has to do with finances. So I might say that the consequence of financial success in this case is the expense of your friends or family or something like that. But the reality is 8 is just such an open-ended thing in the 9-card spread that it's difficult to interpret it without you or someone else asking me a question saying, hey Spencer, what's the deal with this, or can you do a reading on that? Then I could get a much better bearing on how the 8th position and how 8 in numerology and in the context of a 9-card spread might affect you. But last and certainly not least, 9. I myself am a 9 life path. Now, that is something that kind of does influence what I have to do here, but I was looking for an 8 card, which is why I was fiddling around here, because I wanted to show you what the 8 looked like sideways and in all the positions. But for the last one here, we'll just use the Wheel of Fortune, because I think it's a good embodiment of 9. Oh, there's 4, by the way. The Emperor embodies everything in the 4 very easily. Anyway, sorry for the distraction. The 10 in the Major Arcana, this is, of course, a representation of the goddess Fortuna. I mean, it's the Wheel of Fortune. Now, 9 in numerology is a number of things. It is very much a humanitarian, wink wink, meaning, but at the same time, 9 is also multifaceted. If you look up the history of 9, 9 is really the perfect number in the sense that if you multiply anything by 9, it reduces to 9. 9 is 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 is 36. You reduce that, 3 plus 6 equals 9. So 9 is the foundational number in many ways. You might think of, I believe it was Tesla who said 369 is the perfect trinity, the number combination. There's a lot to be said about 9, but 9 is also completion. 9 is the end. Remember, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 is the end. So I would do this reading for you and I would say, oh my, the 9th card that's drawn is the Wheel of Fortune. So you might be looking for a definitive ending, a completion, something along the lines of a 2 plus 2 equals 4, like a definitive answer. But seeing the Wheel of Fortune there, I would say, holy shoot, it looks like the fates, it looks like Fortuna, it looks like God, whatever, has a lot in store for you, and everything is kind of up in the air. So if this was, say, the Emperor, if the Emperor was drawn as the 9th card, I would say, well, it looks like you're going to get everything you wanted and more. You're going to have total control, total dominion, lots of money, etc. And that certainly sounds like a lot better way to end a reading than me basically saying, hey, this is up in the air. I mean, Fortuna's basically telling me that anything can happen, that the wheel of karma is spinning really fast, that up, down, left, right, who knows. It's certainly less attractive than the Emperor in the 9th position. So we'll leave the Emperor there just for karmic luck. But anyway, it's interesting how it goes. So that's the genesis behind the 9-card spread and why I employ it so much, because we have the beginning and the end, 1 through 9. Simple as that, and each meaning coalesces perfectly with numerology. Now I could use the major arcana, so cards 1 through 9, to represent everything. The Magician is 1, singular male energy. The High Priestess is 2, divine, secretive female energy. 3, the Empress, of course. There's many meanings behind it. 4, the Emperor, law and order. I could go on for a month. But now you understand the genesis behind the 9-card spread. So again, I have adjusted those prices for the private readings if you're interested below. I know so many of you were complaining to me about the high price at $500, but now I've really adjusted things for you. Anyways, guys, please comment down below if you have an idea for a pick-a-card reading or if you want me to explain more of these concepts. I'm really happy to do it. My apologies for rambling a little bit there, but you know, I always do these videos with the idea behind it that you could go back, rewind, listen to it again if you don't understand something. And I try to make it timeless, so if you find this 3 years from now or you find this the day it gets uploaded, it doesn't matter, it's still relevant. And this is also a foundational video for any new subscribers or new viewers that I have who don't understand the genesis behind the 9-card spread. A lot of you criticize and say, why do you repeat your explanations so much in every reading you do? But you have to understand, I mean, if you're a student in the 11th grade, there's a little bit of repeat from the 10th grade. You know what I mean? It's just how it is. There's a little bit of refresh. And if you're a brand new person to tarot, you can't just walk into an 11th grade classroom without any primer or any refresh, right? It's all relevant. It's like being a 6th grade math student walking into a university calculus class. It sounds like a horrible nightmare, and it's just not acceptable. So please, guys, have patience. I love you. I thank you. Please hit that like and subscribe. I will talk to you next time.